Hi, I'm Peter Carney from City Food Growers. Today I'll be talking about developing an organic garden on a slope, tips on how to do it in the right way. So why would you want to use a slope for a vegetable and herb garden? Well, slopes can work really well with drainage. The water flows down a slope, you can maximise the use of water. They can fit, you can compact a lot of growing area into a space. On a slope, you can use the resource of the slope, even the soil of the slope, to help build the beds. So, and the raised garden on a slope can really become quite a beautiful feature of a garden. So this space here where I'm talking is a garden that we've actually moved to this property in January of this year, so that's only 5 months ago. And this garden it was all weeds at the time. There was no food in here, and there's lots of food in here now. But interestingly, 3 years ago, I was asked by the previous people who lived here to design this garden. So this area was all grass and a steep slope when I first saw it. So I know the history of the space, and what in designing this garden, we first of all looked at the orientation of this slope, which fortunately faces northeast, and that's a perfect orientation here for the sun, so it gets really nice winter sun, which is about to come up soon, and it gets a lot of summer sun, but these climbing structures here, which not only help to increase the productive capacity of the space, they also create shade for spaces. So plants grow up here and shade plants here. So you can actually manage the sun through growing things rather than putting up shade structures over the top. So with this garden here has rows. We have the top of the slope up here with a timber border along the top, and the beds are about 1 metre wide. So that timber border goes around up there for probably about 15 metres. And there's a range of different crops in there. There's some tomatoes finishing off here, and various leafies and herbs and cabbages and things further up near the bamboo. And so then you can see here that there's another piece of timber which drops this bed down slightly by about 10 centimetres to this space, which is level. So that bed is level, this one is level. Very important principle to actually have the bed surface level, especially on a slope, so that you can hold in moisture, because otherwise the soil will dry out really quickly on a slope if you can't hold the moisture. So we have 3 sleepers here on this timber sleepers on this edge here to hold up this soil. So there's quite a lift here, probably close to a metre, maybe 80 centimetres, 80 or 90 centimetres, and that's allowed this one here to have a small lift. So all the way along here we have a pathway which is easy to access, easy to reach into here, from that side easy to reach into there. Also, an important principle in the design is to make the access very, very easy. So we have here a lower bed which runs for about 15 metres as well, and it's split into 2 large beds, and that's just over a metre wide, and it's two sleepers high there. So and it has this really nice high climbing frame all the way along. So this this actually doubles the productive capacity of the space, which is really fantastic. And similarly with this frame here, which is about 1.5 meters high and 5 meters long, so that adds another six, over 6 meters, 7.5 square meters to the space. I mean, this is a very compact space which would only really be about 100 square meters of growing area, and compared to the previous garden I've had, which was close to 1,000 square meters, it's really quite small. But it's interesting in working with this slope and attempting to maximise production and have the access working really, really well. So I think some of those principles I've just mentioned of in the design, the orientation of the slope, I can appreciate that in your, if you're building a garden in a vegetable garden in a yard, sometimes you can't choose where, which orientation it's going to be if there is a slope. So fortunately this is a northeast facing orientation, which is the best possible orientation. If you had a slope which was facing in another direction and say a southerly direction, then you're going to have less sun. So that may mean raising things up a bit higher to get more sun, having more climbing things so you can get more access to sun, or timing your crops so that you realise that in the cooler times when the sun is lower in the sky, that you don't grow things that need lots of sun, like fruiting and flowering crops. You may grow more leafy and root crops. Whereas in the warmer times when the sun's higher in the sky, you would maximise the use of the climbing frame. So it doesn't mean, because you don't have the ideal orientation for your slope, it doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. It just means you have to fine tune the way that you grow the food on the slope. So I think in summary, the growing food on a slope gives you great capacity to have quite a lot of food production in a small space, especially if you use the climbing frame. It allows you to create a feature which is beautiful, and this certainly is a really nice part of the yard here, which the garden could be expanded out that way onto the lawn, onto a flat area, which it may do at some time. But for the time being, this nice small space it works really, really efficiently. Oh, one other thing with the water, the watering through here is really quite easy. We have taps, and we may be putting dripper systems in here, but it's a really efficient space to water as well. So with the design of these food gardens, I do have a service where I go to people's places in the Brisbane area to design food gardens, and they may be like this, they may be in ground, they may be improving existing spaces with orchards as well. But also that service can be done remotely via video Skype to really anyone, anywhere. So the sort of principles that I talked about here and that are in the other videos that we have on our channel express that kind of knowledge of designing productive food gardens. So contact us if you're interested in that service, or subscribe to our website, our Organic Gardener subscription, and I hope your gardening goes well. Thank you.